Hey guys, it's Courtney and Seth here today, and today we have another adventure episode for you guys. We are at the Mayberry Spirits Distillery here in Mount Airy, North Carolina, also known as Mayberry. And this place has been open for some time, but Seth and I have just never got around to going, so we thought that today would be our first time, and of course we'd take you guys along with us. So we're going to go ahead and head inside and see what kind of spirits and options they have for their tour, and like I said, take you guys with us. So if you'd like to join us, let's go. The Mayberry Spirits Distillery is here in Mount Airy, North Carolina, and they do specialize in distilling their own whiskey and whiskey products. So we're going to go ahead inside and wait for our tour to begin just here in a couple minutes. So they also have some history of the original building here, and as you can see, the cork in the phone would actually dial the home number of the original owner if it was pulled out. So they do have some cool history items here as well. In North Carolina, you do have to have a special ABC license to sell distilled products, so as you can see, that makes this distillery legal. They also have a little sitting area over here before your tour starts. If you want to sit down, play some checkers, and relax, you can feel free to do so.
My name is Kate. I'm your tour guide today. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so as my neighbors would tell me, I ain't from around here. But I've been here 17 years now. Van and Steve, the owners, and Van is the master distiller. Their people have been here for generations. Van's mom and dad went to school with Andy. Oh. Dad was a little bit ahead of Andy. Mom was a little bit behind Andy. Actually, Dad grew up 4 houses down from Andy over here on Hay Street. Van grew up here, finished out at the schools here in town, and then went on to Georgia Tech, where he studied, of all things, astrophysics. We opened 2015 to the public, and at that point we could not sell a single bottle of our own product to our own customers. Now at least you can come in here and get that. Before we go into the back, I just want to point out 2 different philosophies that are important to Van and Steve. The first one is we have a strong commitment to sustainability and repurposing. Recycle, that sort of thing. So everything from the wood on the walls, the light fixture here in the middle of the room, the seating area over there, are all made from materials that were repurposed from 2 tobacco barns that were going to be burnt to the ground. The other thing is we like to work with other small businesses. So the first part of the tour is over. They're going to take us in here to the back to show us the actual distillery and show us the process of whiskey making. It was developed as a way to make pure, stronger forms of medicine and perfume. We know that whiskey came from Ireland about 2,000 years ago. Fast forward to the 1300s. This is just before the plague comes across Europe. And we start seeing complaints in the sheriff's court reports and in the sermons from the pulpit of public drunkenness, not from beer or ale or wine, but from spirits. Now, if you start with grain and you make an alcoholic beverage, doesn't matter what the grain is, you're going to have whiskey. Grain equals whiskey. Beer first, then whiskey. If you start with fruit, you have cider or wine. Whether it's drinkable or not, that's a different discussion. We harvest those, have them malted, which is a process. You put it in water. It thinks it's time for the plant to sprout, but an enzyme is created to turn the starch of the grain into sugar. The hearts, that's what we want. 206 degrees. Alcohol content has gone down a little bit. It's bitter, not in a good way. We're in the diffusal oils, but there's still alcohol there. This is what they call the tails. So everybody I know who makes whiskey bottles that up and they put it back in with the next batch to get the rest of the alcohol out of it. Now, this is our production. If we made it, it came out of that still. Van designed this still. He had it put together by a gentleman who has a metal fabrication company down outside of Tobaccoville, which is about, half an hour south of us here. I think that was the first legal still he'd ever made. So that allows us to do in 1 distillation run what other companies do in 2 or 3 distillation runs, which is purifying their end product. or the condenser barrel has that constant stream of cool water flowing over it, and it's all in a closed system, so we're using the same water over and over again, carrying on our dedication to recycling and conservation. So that never touches your actual whiskey, it just cools the pipe. All right, now the old timers had a series of tests they called reading the bubbles. And the easiest one to see is this. This is 50 proof, this is 150 proof. And I'm gonna shake both of the jars and I want you to watch how quickly the higher proof bubbles will dissipate.
Oh yeah.
So today we use scientific tools and calibration to know exactly where we are, which is why you have to have a master distiller when you're doing this sort of thing. Doing whiskey, aging whiskey, is more about the surface, access to the wood, than it is about time. Wine needs time. Whiskey doesn't need time, it needs access to the wood. And in a barrel, you've got one surface. Here, you've got 6 times the surface area. So where it takes that barrel to do 50 gallons to a drinkable whiskey in a year or 2, this will take the same amount of whiskey to a similar place in 6 to 8 days.
So now that we've learned a little bit about the distilling process, we're going to head back out to the bar and begin our whiskey tasting.
Whatever you're most comfortable with. So choose your spot. Okay. I say the black bowls are here for you to pour it away if I serve you anything you don't care to finish. This is just potable water. It's just regular water, nothing fancy. But some people like to rinse out their glasses in between or have a little drink of water in between. Whatever, it is entirely up to you. So if everybody will turn your glasses over. We're going to start with the mother of everything that we do. The second sip that you take, you should be able to discern the different layers of flavor in the whiskey. Even if it isn't what you would normally choose, really is. It's the sweetness of that syrup. This is your whiskey flavored whiskey. This is more your traditional sipping whiskey. And by the time we're done here, we're not going to have but maybe a shot and a half total.
Yeah, you give me the hat because he did. Of course, I was into it. Just a little, please. That's good. Thank you. Anyway, so he said,
This one came out of one of the small barrels. Mm-hmm. So the only difference, it was distilled the same way. It's just aged differently. This one is going to be the equivalent of a 12-year whiskey.
Wow.
All right.
And is that because it's in the smaller, or do you control the temperature there?
Now, for some reason, a lot of people don't think of whiskey as being a mixer, and certainly not a clear whiskey. But I'm going to show you the quickest, easiest cocktail you can make yourself. All right, 2 ingredients, 3 if you count the ice. And the ice is important. We use Simply Lime made straight out of the grocery store. We haven't done anything to it. And this is our Crystal Moon, is the queen of this party. This one we call our Mayberry.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that anything like the Mayberry Rita at the Loaded Goat?
It is exactly that.
I just had it last night then.
All right, so we're going to do a short pour of the alcohol and a long pour of the non-alcohol. We're going to end up with about a 1-to-4 ratio, and that's what most of our cocktail recipes are. 1 part alcohol to 4 parts non. All right, now if you've never worked with a cocktail shaker, what you're looking for is that condensation. Tells you the inside has gotten to the temperature that you want it to be. Now we're up to or down to about a 25-30 proof here, so we're going to do a full pour. Now don't drink this all. Try it the way it is, and then we're going to play a little bit more. This one, cranberry, tastes like cranberry, and you see what it did to the label, so be careful if you choose that one. Orange will kind of intensify the citrus that you already have going on. Plum is my favorite. It's going to give kind of a deeper, richer sweetness. Peach tastes like peach. Cherry is a lighter, brighter sweet. And rhubarb will give you kind of a grown-up lockjaw sweet tart. So at this level, you want to do 2 or 3 drops. You can always add more. You can't take it out once you got too much.
Pick your poison.
Cherry.
Pick your 2 and then I'll pick mine.
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Say just 3 long.
Yeah, just
Cranberry?
3 little drops, and like I
orange
said,
and
then if it's not enough, go ahead and put more in.
Oh,
No, Fee Brothers is a company out of Rochester, New York. Now, y'all don't tar and feather anybody. They just make a really good. They make a really good product at a reasonable price point. There is a company in Cary, and I can't think what it's called now, but they make these just amazing flavors like magnolia and habanero. The one with the gold ribbon has pineapple juice, cranberry juice, and toasted vanilla. We call that our vanilla brie. This one is made with sweet cider, apple cider, or apple juice.
ooh.
And you see the cinnamon sticks in there, and a pinch of allspice. Now, this one, you have a double choice. If you settle on this one, do you want it cold or do you want it warm?
Oh,
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. That's a warm one. That's good. That's very good.
There you go.
thank you.
All right, so one of the big things in whiskey consumption right now is flavored whiskeys. So American honey and Fireball and all that sort of thing. So this is our version of Fireball.
Oh no.
But
I like Fireball.
one thing that you've got to keep in mind is don't settle for what you can get in the store. You take your clear whiskey and dissolve whatever hard candy that you want in. What we tend to recommend is 1 piece of candy to 1 ounce or 1 shot of liquor. All right, we're back up to 100 proof. So short pour on this and be careful.
So our tasting is over, but something cool that's included in the price is you do get to keep the shot glasses that you used for the tasting. Also, if you pay for the tour upgrade, they do have an additional stop, which is right here in the back at the second bar. And we're just going to look at some of the merchandise here and see what kind of different options they have. But something that caught my eye were these mixing kits, and they had orange dreamsicle, which looked amazing. But they also have some merchandise to take home with you as well to commemorate your trip. Alright guys, so we are all done here today at the Mayberry Spirits Distillery. What did you think of our tour, Seth?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I like the way that not only you just got to do a tasting, but they kind of took you a tour of their distilling area and kind of talked about the history of their business and
even told you about the owners too.
You
know, their history and how they're actually from this area and how they grew up here and all that fun stuff. But our tour guide was great. She was really informative and she was super, super nice. But I loved the tasting as well. They even crafted some cocktails for us to try with their whiskey, so that's unlike any tasting I've done before. Like for example, our Old Smoky Moonshine, it's just purely the tasting of the moonshine. It's not necessarily like a full-on tour. That took us what, about 45 minutes? Yeah, so it was worth what, $12?
Yeah,
$12 we paid. It was definitely worth it. We even seen some tourists coming in as we were leaving, and they were super excited to do the tour themselves. And if we haven't inserted that yet, I'll go ahead and insert here. There's actually an additional tour, which is an additional cost that you can do, where they actually take you to a separate bar, so it's a little bit more of a longer tour. We didn't do that one, but that is an option as well. But we definitely love to go back. That was super, super fun. The cocktails were great, the tasting was great, and like Seth said, the distillery was very informative about what they do. So yeah, that was super fun. I can't believe we haven't been there, and it's been open since 2015. But if you guys get to go, just let them know that the Jackson Travels sent you. And until next time, we hope to see you on the next adventure. Bye.